Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mindful Muscle Podcast with my fabulous co-host, Jodi. How are you doing today, Jodi?
I'm great. If you're new here, welcome. Gio and I are two friends who individually went on health and wellness journeys and collectively have lost and maintained a 140-pound weight loss. And our heart goes out to the beginners because Gio and I, we were beginners and we're here to help and show people that it is possible. And if you are new on your fitness journey, be sure to hit and subscribe to Mindful Muscle today.
Yes, please do that. Our next guest, Tara DeLeon, is a personal trainer, professor of health, fitness, and exercise study. She's also a fellow podcaster, speaker, and author. Welcome to the show, Tara. How are you today?
Thanks so much for having me. I'm good.
Amen
Glad
for
to be
that.
here.
Also, oh yeah, it's good. We enjoy these conversations, getting to meet people from all walks of life. Tell us a little bit background about yourself, and we'll get started there.
Yeah, so my health and fitness journey probably began when I was a kid, right? I was in a larger body. I was bullied at school. You know how it goes. And then through the years, I lost some weight. I got fit. And then I got to college and I was worried about the freshman 15. And I ended up taking a class that I had no business being in. It was called Sports Fitness Techniques. And it was basically like how to be a lifting coach. So me as a business major at the time, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing in here. But my professor was so like excited about what he was teaching that I decided to stay. And it actually ended up changing the course of my life because I switched my major. I decided to get a master's degree in kinesiology. I became a collegiate strength coach, a personal trainer, and here we are like 20 some years later. Still.
I first got into kinesiology when I was heavily playing golf to be able to maximize the rotation, get as much power about it from my body. To somebody who may not be familiar with kinesiology, explain to the audience what that is about.
Kinesiology is the study of human movement. I really like physiology, where we look at movement on a cellular level, but kinesiology is so much more practical because it's like how the muscles interact with each other, how they interact with tendons and bones, and how the body works as a whole.
So how has the field evolved since the beginning? Because I remember some of the earlier books I read about it was rudimentary, but now people have, even individual team athletes have their own coach for that to maximize movement.
Yeah, it's really come a long way. Even over the course of the 20 years that I've been in the industry, it is so completely different. The industry as a whole is really young. The National Strength and Conditioning Association was founded in like the 70s. So we're not that far removed from just being like the Wild West of fitness. And now we've entered the influencer era where,
Yes.
yeah, every team has a strength coach, which is awesome. But also the individual athletes are now really well informed consumers. There's so much information out there that they can access, which is amazing, but it makes wading through the nonsense really difficult. So now we have to almost teach our athletes as the team strength coach to be scientifically literate, to be like social media literate, where they can realize, no, that's nonsense. And oh, yeah, this is legit. You know what I
Today,
mean?
as you're just saying that, today I was watching a video about 7 foods not to eat. And the first one or the second one they listed was bananas. And the reason, hold on, the reason they listed bananas, the reason they listed bananas was because if you throw it in a smoothie, some of the nutrients in a banana can block the antioxidants of blueberries. So they weren't necessarily against bananas, just if you're going to eat banana, eat it by yourself, not in the smoothie. And that's not the point I want to make here, but that's the video I was watching. At the bottom, right? At the bottom in a comment, somebody said, man, you guys make eating so hard. Who has a chance in this world? Right? If you're going to be
Bananas
worrying
are the
about
enemy
that.
here.
Yeah, exactly. So it shows you're right. How do you recommend people, or how do you advise people how to weed through all the BS and the fear mongering in social media?
Oh man, you know what? I think like comments, if you want to be a silly goose, go ahead and get in the pond. But for the rest of us, I feel like none of us look at a banana and go, oh, that's the problem. None of us look at a nice whole grain bread and go, we shouldn't be eating that. It's not a war on like food. Maybe we're looking at the really highly processed stuff. Maybe we're looking at the stuff that we can't even tell what's in it and going, maybe I should eat a little bit less of this. But like for me personally, fruits, vegetables, including bananas, are always like unlimited. Go for it because there's so many vitamins and minerals in there. There's so much fiber in there. I liken it to mowing your grass while your house is on fire. Like, is eating the bananas the biggest thing, the biggest problem in your life? I don't think it is. And if it is, then we'll have that conversation. But up until that point, let's worry about the big stuff first.
I think the day I fear eating bananas or carrots, I've seen baby carrots being accused of causing weight gain. If I fear my fruits and veggies, I just give up. I'm just throwing in the towel.
Yeah,
exactly. Now, to the podcaster's credit or the YouTube, like I said, they weren't against eating banana. They just didn't want you to mix it with blueberries. But I'm saying to myself, how is the average person going to know that? Even if it was true, like he didn't necessarily give any scientific backing behind that. I'm of the idea, like you were pointing out, look, just get all the fruits and veggies you can. Don't worry about the minutia, right? So it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you also have to look at these influencers. Are they selling something? Are they saying, do this workout? Are they selling a program? Like, usually the people who are damning something, a food or an exercise, they usually have something to sell.
Follow the money.
Yes, always follow the money. You know, another thing with these, and now the guy I was listening to is very popular. For the most part, he's legit. But then I asked myself the question, fitness and nutrition is very simple. Now, doing it is hard, but it's actually simple. So it's almost like they have to come up with different gimmicks just to keep making more videos.
Yeah, absolutely. I think about that sometimes. I host a podcast along with a dietitian and a mental health therapist, and we talk about wellness and fitness through the lens of without the diet culture, right? Like weight neutral fitness. And they're always like, Tara, we need more fitness episodes. And I'm like, fitness is really easy. We've done like 20 episodes on fitness. Like we've discussed it all. And now it's all about putting that into practice. And so I feel like I'm always looking for like new ways to approach fitness and new ways to talk about it because like you said, it's simple. It's just the doing it that's hard.
Something in your bio that is dear to me is the notion of fitness for fertility. And as I mentioned behind the scenes that my wife and we struggled with infertility for 3.5 years. Long story short, we ended up realizing she had celiac disease 10 months after going gluten-free, and a powerful prayer from a friend of mine. We have 3 children now. What are some of the things, I've never heard it put that way, fitness for fertility. What are some of the things you address in that?
Yeah, so I went on this fertility journey because I was struggling with infertility. I have polycystic ovaries, and I've known that since I was like a teenager. So
I used to.
Nice. Okay, so you know the struggle. So I was told early on, hey, it's going to be hard for you to get pregnant. So it wasn't a surprise to me. But I also noticed that many of my other friends who don't have diagnoses like that were also struggling to get pregnant. So we're always talking like, hey, what happened to us in the 80s? What's going on here that we're all having such a difficult time with this?
I could tell you what happened to my hair in the 80s. Too much aqua gel.
So during my like process of trying to get pregnant, I went on like a research bender where I was like, okay, what are all the things that I should be doing? Should I be cutting out foods? Should I be adding foods? How can I manage my stress? What kind of exercise should I be doing? And basically what I discovered is that most women are exercising too hard. we're exercising so intensely that it spikes different cortisol levels, different hormones, things like that. So some of it's really great, and we think a little is good, more is better, and it really
Mm-hmm.
isn't the case when it comes to fertility. I actually coach a lot of women to scale back when they're trying to get pregnant, obviously depending on what they're doing, right? But for most of them, especially if they're in a larger body like I am, their doctor has probably told them, hey, to get pregnant, you need to lose weight. And of course, we freak out and we go, oh my gosh, I'm going to go to the gym all these days and I'm going to take this HIIT class 5 times a week. And then we really do ourselves a disservice by going so hard that we make it even worse on ourselves getting pregnant. So
How
in my
so?
case, I
Yeah,
needed
yeah.
fertility treatments. I couldn't do it. Just a little exercise, scaling back my exercise and changing my diet a little didn't quite do it for me. But we knew that would
Mm-hmm.
be the case going into it. So it wasn't that shocking for me. But another thing that we discovered through our fertility treatments, my husband loves this story, is when you first go in, they do all this testing on the woman, and then they do testing on the man too, which is
Mm-hmm.
really simple. Some would even argue that it's fun. They just analyze a semen
Mercy.
sample. So during that analysis, they often look at like, how much sperm do you have? Does it have good motility? Is it
Mm-hmm.
swimming? Is it going in circles? Is it going in straight lines? They do all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? Going into it, I knew that my situation was the issue for us. And they said, oh, husband, you have this many sperm and this is all good and this is fine, right? And just for like example's sake, let's say it was like 10 million sperm. I don't remember, but it
Mm-hmm.
was something in the normal range. And then he actually started doing Squattober. Do you guys
Oh
know about
yes, yes,
Squattober?
yes.
Yes.
Sore neck
Yes.
In our
Squattober.
in our community,
So,
it's a big deal. People are already
yes.
preparing for it.
Did you get your shirts? They dropped yesterday.
Now I said people are preparing for it, not me.
It's not my jam either, but
Yeah.
my husband loves it. My husband is one of those people that is just like naturally ridiculously strong. So Squattober is just totally suited to the way that he likes to exercise. So during our fertility treatments, Squattober happens. And so we go in at the beginning of November to actually do the turkey basting, right? They basically just take the sample, put it in a turkey
Yeah.
baster, and squirt it at a very appropriately timed moment. And they test it before you actually go through with it. And they were like, oh my God, Mr. DeLeon, your sperm count has doubled. What are you doing? And he was just like, oh, that's right. I am so good. If anybody needs any, I've got plenty for everybody. He was absolutely like so proud of himself. And in thinking about it, I was like, what did he do? And the only difference was Squattober instead of lifting like circuit style. So
Mhm.
my theory, which I'm trying actually to get a research study set up for this because I feel like there's some science in here that should definitely be looked at. My theory is that heavy weightlifting boosts testosterone. Testosterone boosts sperm count and quality. Therefore, squats equal better sperm count.
Okay.
Right?
Our friend's doing Squattober. You've heard it.
Yeah.
Be careful if you don't want any little ones, okay?
I know.
Yeah, watch
Um,
yourself.
When I was, as you correctly mentioned, they test the man as well. And so I remember the doctor telling me that men's sperm count collectively has been decreasing
Yes.
as a whole. Well, why do you think that is? I know you're not necessarily a fertility expert, but you've dabbled in going through this research.
Yeah, I think there's a couple reasons for that. I think that we're probably like sitting more than we've ever sat before. And so sperm doesn't do well with like heat. I think when we're sitting all day long and you're sitting in your tight pants, adding some compression to that, like we know that kind of thing decreases sperm count.
As
Same
I
thing,
sit
like when they
here,
say,
as I sit here in my compression shorts,
yeah, oh, what are you
I'm
doing, sir?
I'm done. I'm done
I was
with
gonna
kids.
say, what, are you telling me something?
No, I'm done with kids. No, it's my workout shorts. They have a compression underliner.
Yeah,
Right,
like
all
they're
right.
comfy, but
Yeah.
I feel like having the heat and the compression and then the overall lack of fitness I think like our fitness levels are decreasing, right? We've seen research that shows that. I just think that it's this whole compounding thing. I'm sure our food has something to do with that as well. I don't know what part of it would be, but yeah, I think it's all related.
Yeah, no doubt. I would love to see more info on it but I would personally, just because everybody does it, right? Not everybody exercises, but everybody eats. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a food nutrition component to it, right? Because everybody,
Absolutely.
whether you're poor or rich, everybody eats, so I think there might be some of that. So continuing with the fitness for, what are some of the prenatal stuff and postnatal stuff you recommend?
Yeah, so when we're talking about prenatal fitness, there's two main goals, right? Increase your chances of getting pregnant, or I should say, when we're talking about like fertility fitness, increase your chances of getting pregnant, and then make sure you're strong enough to support a healthy pregnancy. Doing like some weightlifting, doing some like moderate intensity cardio, really going to be helpful during the fertility time. Once you actually get pregnant, of course, you want to do things that are going to keep your baby safe and keep you healthy. And we want to make labor and delivery like as easy as possible. I would argue that it's like never easy, but if you go into a marathon or an ultra marathon untrained, it is probably worse than if you've been training for it. So I think the same thing stands true with labor. I know my labor was 30 hours and I do not recommend it. Worth it, but I do not recommend it. And I was well trained. I exercised my whole pregnancy. I made sure that I was doing things that were safe for the baby. I made sure that I was doing things that were safe for me. And I was making sure that I was keeping my body strong enough to support myself and the extra weight during pregnancy and to help me get that baby out of there as safely and effectively as possible. So that's what I focus on with the prenatal part. And then postpartum, I really think society and doctors tell us like, hey, 6 weeks, you're good to go. When in reality, women need to tune into their body and see how it feels, right? Check in. How is your pelvic floor? Are you ready for heavier lifting? Are you ready for movement? We have it in our minds that at 6 weeks, it's go time, when in reality, I work in a gym. I train clients like 10 hours a day. And I was like 12 weeks postpartum handing clients kettlebells. And I was like, oh, my pelvic floor doesn't like that. And that's even that I wasn't doing the work. I was just handing it to them. So for me, I really had to tune into my body and figure out, do I need more rest or do I need to strengthen this? And in my case, I needed more recovery time. I think just paying attention is helpful.
I'm not a doctor, but I'm married to one. Literally, my wife's a doctor. But I
Amazing.
I delivered all three of my babies
Whoa.
with the help of a midwife. I was the one who cut the umbilical cord. I pulled them out from the shoulder, everything. I lubricated the
Cool.
area to make sure. And so what you women go through is amazing. So it's true. You have to be careful. Some women bounce back faster than others. And my wife herself bounced back faster after the second pregnancy than she did the first pregnancy. And by the third
Yeah.
pregnancy, her labor was 30 minutes. Boom. We were
Amazing.
in and out. And so, yeah, it is important, and it's not one size fits all, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has to be in tune to their own bodies. But look, you women are amazing. You know what? No, seriously, giving birth is, yeah, it's
Not for the faint
traumatic.
of heart.
Working with a lot of moms, especially postnatal, do you run into mom guilt about women finding time to work out and exercise?
Yes. I felt like that. Like, I had my son in the middle of a pandemic, which is also something I do not recommend. Every day I like went to work and I was like, is today the day I bring back a disease that'll kill my newborn? Maybe. Like, it was really stressful. And then knowing that I was already away from him for this much time, I think being a mom is hard, no question about it. Being a working mom takes it to a whole nother level because you do have the guilt of, oh, I'm basically paying someone else to raise my baby. And then do I take the extra half hour, 45 minutes, hour to work out myself? And in the beginning, I struggled. And then eventually it dawned on me that I'm doing this for him. right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, but also for him. By exercising on a regular basis, I'm improving my quality of life. I'm lengthening, hopefully, my lifespan so that I'll get more time in the end rather than just the 30 minutes here that I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I'm wasting by not being with him. Now it's cumulative later, and it's a better quality of life later. I also think that we have this thing in our mind where it's we got to work out so many hours or it doesn't count. I really help new moms like scale that back initially. Like, you just had a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Your body has created this entire miracle, and yet we're focused on erasing any evidence that ever happened. And far be it for me to tell someone how I think their body should look. That's completely up to them. But I also think that our goals shift as a parent, whereas before we may have wanted to look a certain way, now my goals are completely health and performance based. I don't
Mm-hmm.
really care what I look like as long as I'm healthy and I can live my life the way I want to and be able to get down on the floor and play with my son and keep up with him in the park and do those things. That's what really matters. And luckily for me, in order to do that, I don't need to be in the gym 5 hours a week. A
Mm-hmm.
couple of half-hour quick lifting sessions and a cardio session probably cut it. Scaling back is helpful.
I didn't start until my youngest was a toddler, my fitness journey, but I used to hear, Jodi, how do you work out and keep house? I'm like, you're assuming that I am Donna Reed and my house looks great. Or taking care of my fitness and health. Something's going to outweigh the other. It's no, I
Yes.
got to show them if I want them to grow into healthy adult men, I need to demonstrate that this is how you
Yes.
take care of yourself. And it's okay to be a little selfish. I'm a better mom because of it. I have more energy. I'm sick less because I do
Mm-hmm.
it. And unfortunately, earlier this month, my 10-year-old broke 2 bones in his right arm, and I had to carry him into the emergency room. And I could do that without
Mm-hmm.
struggling, especially
Mm-hmm.
since every
Yes.
little bump would have been painful. Being a
Yes.
strong mom is amazing. And it's
Yes.
a gift.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely a gift.
100%. And I think the body image piece of that is really important, especially for mothers of daughters. Showing our daughters that the gym isn't a scary place and that the gym
Mm-hmm.
is a good place to be and that we go there to get strong bodies and to be healthy, I think is doing more good for them than any amount of any
Mm-hmm.
body image is really challenging in our youth, especially in our daughters. But showing a good example of what like a strong mom looks like, absolutely crucial.
Continuing on this pregnancy and postpartum, what aspect of the mental aspect, right? Because a lot of women sometimes, not a lot, but certain women, postpartum depression, right? How do you see that and how do you help people with that if you do go down that route?
Yeah, I'm such a huge fan of screening and then referring out. I'm not a
Mm-hmm.
mental health professional. I've been through it and I can recognize signs, but I don't really know how to help them. I love having deep conversations with my clients while we're training. And if any kind of red flags pop out at me, we'll discuss it. And I have a whole network of people that I refer out to just
Mm-hmm.
so that, it takes a village. And none
Mm-hmm.
of us really have the village built in anymore. Society has changed enough so that it used to be that we lived with our parents and our grandparents and we had this whole community to help us raise a child. And we really don't anymore. So now I see it as part of my responsibility as your trainer. Hey, I'm part of the village and I'm bringing other people into your village because you can't do this alone. And if you can, you're not going to thrive. There's a big
Mm-hmm.
difference between thriving and surviving. And I want all my clients to thrive through this motherhood thing. So I
Mm-hmm.
try to refer out and just make sure, like, we know that exercise boosts mental health, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exercise is going to help with postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, even postpartum rage to some extent. So getting people moving and getting them moving more often is really helpful, but then also getting help when needed, crucial.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Okay. Good.
think there's this mindset that women are just supposed to do it all by
Mm-hmm. You're
themselves. And
not?
we need to, yes, the village, we need a village. We need to
Yes.
stop with the flex that we can do it all perfectly. No, we can't. And it just makes other moms look at us and they feel that pressure that they need to be perfect, and perfection is the enemy of good enough, and we all need help sometimes.
I think sometimes people lose the balance between, yes, you are individually responsible for your choices, but that doesn't mean you have to go at it alone. Get help, get support, get idea, but then take all the ideas, all the support, but then do something with it yourself. So it's that balance that you are responsible for yourself. However, don't do it alone. We don't have to be the Lone Ranger. Let me hop into your book. You have a book called Hot Mess to Hot Mama. Tell me about the book.
So this book was inspired on my son's first birthday. I was in the shower. It was still COVID, right? We were having people over, but it was like iffy. And in the shower, I can hear him like banging on the door, trying to get in. And I was like running through a checklist of, do I have enough plates? I can't believe the baker misspelled his name on the cake. What the heck? Do I just serve it? I guess I do. I'll eat the piece that's missing the letter. Like, I was running through this whole thing, and I looked down and realized I hadn't shaved my legs in like months. I don't know how long it had been, but it was like terrifying. And no shade to women that don't shave their legs, but for me, I was like, man, you got to get your life together because your legs are hairy. So it started me thinking, okay, clearly my life is not together. I'm acting like my son is weeks old rather than so what do I do? What would make me feel like I had my life together? And I was like, I need to shave my legs once a week. I need to shower at least 3 times a week. I need to blow dry my hair every now and then. I need to have a workout that I can do regularly and not just go to the gym and be like, oh, what am I doing today? Like, I wanted to eat some food that wasn't carry out. I had to get like a college savings plan in place for him, do my will and my estate plan, like in case the worst happens. I was like thinking about it and I was like, God, I wish I had a checklist for all the stuff I had to do in order to feel like I had my life together here. And so after the party, I got on Google and I started looking up like how to get your life together as a new mom. And nothing was coming up. And I thought, God, I should make a list of this. I bet people would like my list. And then fast forward a few months later, I was chatting with my business coach and she was like, so what does the ideal workday look like for you? And I was like, I'm on the beach alone, not talking to people. And she was like, oh, so you got to write a book. And I was like, oh, no, I'm a personal trainer. I'm good at like fitness things, not at writing things. And she was like, no, but seriously, consider this. And so I went home and marinated on it for a few weeks. And I finally was like, okay, let me pitch it to a publisher. And she was like, I love this idea, but you're not an expert in all these things. So I wanted to have a sleep expert, a feeding expert, an expert on how to feed yourself too. We get so caught up in what the baby needs, we stop thinking about what mom needs. My libido was non-existent postpartum. I used to enjoy that aspect of my life, and now it was like, oh, this again?
Don't touch me.
Like, don't look at me either.
I actually, funny story, I went to my doctor and I was like, hey, so I know I just had a baby, but like, when does my libido come back? I would like that if that's possible. And she was like, oh, when your kid goes to college. And I was like, what?
Oh, no.
And then she like looks at her papers and she goes, oh, no, you'll be in menopause by then. So it's gone. And I was, what the heck, man? That's
No
it?
way.
That sucks. That's not an acceptable answer to me.
No,
right?
it's not.
No.
No.
I went and found a libido specialist and she helped me. I'll tell you guys her crazy advice that actually was shockingly effective. So if you've ever
This is a PG-13 podcast, FYI. Not just
Hey,
kidding.
I'm
Go
here.
ahead.
not. This is totally
I'm just
So she was like, I want you to feel sexy anytime you're around water. So if you're washing your hands, you're like, ooh, I'm so sexy. You know, if you're in the shower, I want you to just think sexy thoughts. If you're looking at the river, you know, feel that kind of stuff. And I was just, okay, I thought this would be helpful, but I guess not. And so I actually tried it and like miraculously it was effective. So when I started writing the book, I was like, okay, I gotta have my like sex lady in there. I gotta have the lady who helped me heal my pelvic floor. I gotta have my nutrition lady. I
Mm-hmm.
gotta have my sleep lady. And I just put through my village
Mm-hmm.
and asked them if they would contribute. So we've got everything from like the estate attorney to body image to exercise, all the things, so that now new moms can just take this book and be like, huh, I've got the stories, but at the end of each chapter, there's a little tiny tool so that if they don't have time to read the whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
they've got the main points right there. And that's what
I
I
like
did.
I like that.
I was
Go ahead.
I was looking at reviews on Amazon. It's got amazing reviews. I'm done having kids, but I think I'm gonna have to check it out though.
Thank you.
Uh,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the whole point was to be helpful, right? I think moms deserve to be more than just moms. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we're still human beings. And
mhm.
I think when we have kids, a lot of times that identity gets pushed to the back and we don't find it again until like decades later. So the idea is that we can still be us, even though we're doing this like really important thing as a mother.
Yes, I think
Absolutely.
the kids they consume so much of a mother's time. Typically, my wife, luckily, and I, we both work from home, so we both get to be around. How do you? Because this is something Jody talks about. How do you get a mother not to feel that guilt when she is taking time to exercise, taking time to, as Jody likes to say in quotes, selfish, which is not really,
Yeah.
but it's perceived that way.
Yeah, I totally get it. I think for me, it's just like the reframe of you're not taking time away from your kid, you're taking time for your kid. You're providing that good example. You're prolonging your life and quality of life. Like you're doing this for them. It's much easier to not go to the gym,
Mm.
but recognizing the benefit of it and that your children will benefit from this, I think is really important.
With the few remaining minutes we have here, you also have a podcast, and you mentioned prior to recording that you also have, I think, a nutritionist on the podcast and a mental health. What's the podcast about? How can people find it? And yeah, tell us more about it.
Yeah, so the podcast is called Wellness Rebranded. One of my clients is an intuitive eating based dietitian. And she came to me a couple years ago and she's like, Tara, I'm thinking about starting a podcast and you should do it with me. And I was like, I'm in. And she goes, and what if we had like a mental health therapist? And I was like, yeah, let's do that. And then she was like, wait, I didn't know you guys were going to say yes to this so quickly. So I'm not sure that I'm in. And so I was like, girl, you're in. Let's do this thing. The world doesn't have a nice weight neutral anti diet culture view of health. We
Mm-hmm.
get so caught up in that self care is bubble baths and candles when true self care is making time to go to the gym and sleeping
Mm-hmm.
enough and eating
Mm-hmm.
a wide variety of foods without stressing about what's on your plate. We came together and created Wellness Rebranded. We will hit 2 years in November. So it's been
Yeah.
going strong.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about redefining your relationship with food, fitness, your feelings without the side of like toxic positivity, hustle culture, diet culture. We're the No Stress Health Podcast. And you
And
can
is
find it anywhere you like to listen to podcasts.
okay. Is it guest based or just the three of you picking a topic and then discussing it?
Probably 50-50. We've had a couple really cool guests lately that share things that we're not experts in. I'll give you an example. Like Reagan Chastain is like a thought leader in like weight neutral care. So she came on and shared stuff that I have never even heard of before. Bree Campos came on and talked about grieving your body. If your body gets injured or if it looks a way that you're unhappy with, what it is to feel body grief. And then, of course, the three of us talk about a lot of stuff from our different perspectives, too, right? We talk a lot about intuitive eating. We talk a lot
Mm-hmm.
about like stress management. September's Suicide Month, Suicide Awareness Month. So we're doing an episode on that. Of course, all things weightlifting, fitness, that
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff. So a little bit of both.
Okay. And you mentioned it's a podcast. Is it also on video?
No, we haven't done video yet, although I've been pushing for that. The
Mm-hmm.
studio we record in is extremely small
Okay.
and we can't get a good angle of all of us. So we're like trying to figure that out at the moment. But it's
I-
anywhere you like to listen to podcasts.
Okay, put that on the business plan, a new studio, so you guys can make it wow. Jodi and I, we haven't even been podcasting for a year. We're learning. It's a labor of love and stuff. And so we understand. I was part of a prior podcast for a company called Fitbot. And it's learning. But I enjoy it. I love meeting new people like yourself. And it's a labor of love. So congrats on celebrating 2 years here in November.
Thanks. Yeah, it's funny. We're all like experts in our fields. None of us know anything about technology or podcasting or business. So it's definitely a learning experience for us as well.
So if people wanted to get in contact with you, what's the best way to reach you?
So I'm most active on Instagram. I'm sure you'll link my handle in the show notes, but it's at Tara DeLeon Fitness. And I'm pretty active there, so I'll reply to messages. I love being a resource for people who maybe don't know where to start in fitness, or if they want some weight neutral fitness guidance. Anti-diet culture is a big part of what I talk about. Getting in touch with me there is always a good idea. Or you can find me at the podcast or my books on Amazon. So I'm a little bit of everywhere.
Awesome. Yeah, we are on Instagram. So when we do post this recording, we'll tag you on there and you'll see a lot of promo there.
I wanted to thank you. You're a breath of fresh air. I really appreciate it. Any lasting words or advice to a mom starting her fitness journey for the first time?
Yeah, there's a quote that I love that says, "To the world, you're just a mother, but to your family, you're the world." So I just feel like remembering what's really, truly important is so helpful. Like health is part of that. I'm not telling people to not go work out because you don't want to leave your family. But, take time for yourself. You deserve this. It's not like you're, doing a 5-star vacation alone without your family. You're taking a half an hour a day for your workout. Like, you deserve that.
So, Tara, thank you very much for joining us on the Mindful Muscle podcast. Everybody, check out her book, Hot Mess to Hot Mama. It has excellent reviews on Amazon. Check her out on Instagram. Until next time on the Mindful Muscle podcast, be blessed.